Hello, my name is Paige Coleman. I am Canvas Faculty Support with Learning Technologies and Spaces. We are part of the Office of the Vice Provost for Student Affairs. I will be reviewing the Discussions tool while highlighting the new Discussions Redesign features as of June 19th. Instructors and students will experience a new look and feel when viewing discussion threads. The redesign will also add new functionality to discussions. If at all you have any questions during this tutorial, please do not hesitate to submit a ticket to canvashelp@stanford.edu. I assure you your request will not be lost in a long ticket queue. We have a highly responsive team. Also, to learn more about Canvas and all other features, please visit gocanvas.stanford.edu. Let's delve in. I'm currently on my Discussions landing page within my Canvas demo course. This is the primary landing page within Discussions. I'd like to highlight at the top of the page, at the far right, this gear icon. I'm going to click on the gear icon. Within these discussion settings, one has the option within My Settings to manually mark replies as read. Within Student Settings, there is a new option to create anonymous discussion topics, which I will speak to in a little bit. I'm going to keep these preferences as my default and click Save Settings. In the redesign discussions, I'm going to highlight the process of creating a discussion thread, how to collect it, reply, and or grade it, while addressing the new user interface functionality and the feature loss. The user interface changes differ from classic discussions. Classic Discussions is the tool that you may be familiar with, otherwise known as the old version of Discussions, which is no longer accessible. Let's examine these differences. I'm going to click on Add Discussion, which is the blue rectangular box at the top right side of the page next to the gear icon. Now I'm going to assign a topic title to this discussion. In order for you to save and publish a discussion, you must add content within the Rich Content Editor box, otherwise known as the RCE box. After I typed in my instructions in the RCE box, I'm going to scroll down and see all the other options available. For now, I'm going to keep Anonymous Discussion radial button clicked as off. I will discuss that later. I'm going to scroll down further and I'm going to look at other options. I have an option to disallow threaded replies, which allows for instructors to restrict threaded replies. I'm also going to click here, participants must respond to the topic before viewing other replies. I'm going to elect this option for this particular discussion thread. I'm also going to elect the graded option for this discussion thread I'm highlighting. Every time you select something to be graded within Canvas, a column will then appear for it in the gradebook. I'm going to elect this discussion to be graded. I'm going to allot 10 points possible. Perhaps you would not like to utilize points. You can click on the caret under Display Grade As and see the other options available to you. I'm going to scroll down. For now, I'm going to keep peer reviews as off. And then when I scroll down further within assignment settings, there's a pencil icon with Manage Due Dates and Assign To. Once I click on Manage Due Dates and Assign To, a panel will pop up on the right side of the screen. This is a new user interface feature. I am going to elect a due date for this discussion thread. Now, when you select a due date for a discussion thread, And if I were to apply these settings and save and publish this discussion, that means students would be able to click and submit to this particular discussion or reply even after the due date, and it would appear as late in the grade book. However, you can take it one step further and lock it down by completing the available from and until fields. When you complete these fields, that means students will be able to view the discussion thread title, but they won't be able to click on it, open it, view it, and submit work or reply to it unless they're in between the available from and until dates. We highly recommend that even if you don't complete the available from and until dates, you still select a due date. When you select a due date on the student end, on the student Canvas dashboard, this will appear for them on their to-do, in the to-do column on the right side of the Canvas dashboard. So it's a very helpful reminder to students that they have an upcoming discussion due. I am going to complete the available from fields now. As you noticed, when I typed in the available from date, the default time was 12 a.m. Sometimes in Canvas, the default timing field will be 11:59 a.m. Do not recommend these times, so please just be mindful and go in and correct the timing. I'm going to say 8 a.m. And then we also recommend the until date being consistent with the due date. And I'm going to make sure the time applies to that as well. I am now going to click apply. One thing I'd like to mention here is that this user interface with manage due dates and assign to is going to change again. We are still waiting on that specific date. Instructure is the company that owns and operates Canvas, and they will be changing this UI, whereas opposed to clicking here and the panel opening up on the right side of the screen, the details in that same panel will appear right below this pencil icon, or will appear right below assignment settings, and you could just make the changes here without even clicking on a pencil icon. So just please be aware that that change is coming sometime soon. I'm now going to click Save and Publish for this discussion. Now, I'd like to take you through the process of what the student will see for this discussion, submit work as a student, and show you how you can grade it. So at the top right corner of the screen, there's Enter Student View with the glasses. I'm going to click on Enter Student View. And as you can tell, I'm in Student View because this lovely pink fuchsia border appears. And as a student, I will view this blue information bar. Whenever you see these information bars, even from the instructor end, please take the time to read them. They are helpful reminders. So I'm reminded as a student that I must post before seeing replies. So I must respond to this discussion thread before I can see any other replies from other students within the Canvas course. I'm also reminded the edit history will be available to instructors. That is if I end up deleting a reply and then adding another. So now as a student, I'm going to reply to this discussion thread, graded discussion thread I just created. I'm going to click on the caret next to the document, and I'm going to upload my attachment for the discussion thread. Click on the rocket ship. I'm going to find my attachment. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click submit. My cursor right now is on the blue rectangular submit button. Half of it is cut off by the pink fuchsia banner for student view. And now I'm going to click on reply. And here is the student's reply. I'm now going to leave student view, and this is how it will appear from the instructor's perspective. To view the replies, or grade them, I can do so through SpeedGrader. I'm going to click on the 3 dots within the discussion thread on the far right side of the screen. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to open in SpeedGrader. Another window will open, and here is where I can view the attachment and grade it. Another information box, please take the time to read these before Xing them out. You can toggle from one student to the next, the far top right, by clicking on the arrows. You can submit a comment directly within SpeedGrader as well. Click Submit. And then you can also grade directly in line 2. So within this panel on the right above comments, I can submit the grade directly here. I'm going to give the test student a 10 out of 10. Once I click enter, a red oblong box appears with the word hidden, which means that the posting policy by default for this Canvas course is manual. I'm also reminded that the posting policy is manual and not automatic, because if you look at the far top left next to the gear icon, there's the I with the slash through it. Now, what is the manual posting policy? This means that as you grade and enter all the students' grades individually, they do not automatically deploy to the students. When you complete grading, you must go through and post all their grades at once. You can do this in one of 2 ways. The first way is to click this eye icon and select Post Grades. However, I prefer doing it through the gradebook, because then you have a holistic view of everyone in your class who has yet to submit work or work is just missing. So I'm going to navigate back to my gradebook. Grades. And I am going to look for the column in the gradebook for this particular discussion thread. And here you go. I'm reminded that the posting policy is manual and I've yet to deploy grades, because here's the I/icon. I can click on the 3 dots within this discussion title header and post grades. Post. A green success banner will appear at the top of the screen. The wheel is running. It should post. Let me try again. Post grades. Typically this will, there we go. Post immediately. There is the green success banner. Now, if you do not want a manual posting policy for your course, you can change it to automatic for the entire course by clicking this gear icon at the top right, switching over to grade posting policy and selecting automatically post grades, and then drag your cursor down and apply the settings. You can also change the posting policy per discussion thread, per assignment, by placing your cursor on that title, clicking the 3 dots and grade posting policy, and this will change it. Select automatic and save, and this will change the posting policy, not for everything in the course, but just that particular discussion thread or assignment. Let's navigate back to discussions. I'm going to navigate back to my discussions landing page. I'm going to enter the discussion thread I just created, and I'd like to speak to some of the new features. So with the redesign, the toolbar is now at the top. The toolbar has been moved to the top of the page as opposed to being below the discussion prompt where it was before in classic discussions. The reply button is also much more prominent in redesign. There is now a blue button for reply at the bottom of the discussion thread in a blue rectangular box. Before, in classic discussions, it was just a white gray bar with the word reply. So it's much more prominent. However, the edit button is much more hidden with the redesign. This is a feature loss. So the edit button used to be prominent with the pencil icon, the top right side of the discussion. However, now you must click on the 3 dots, and then you will be able to scroll down and view edit. The publish and subscribe button was very evident in classic discussions, but now the icons are both at the top of the discussion in redesign and a bit less evident. They're next to the 3 dots. There's a green radial circle for publish and the flag for subscribe. You would simply place your cursor on each and click. If I navigate back to my landing page for this discussion thread, you can also view the subscribe flag and the publish radial button directly from the landing page as well. I'm now going to speak to points possible. In redesign, there are no longer any banners. In classic discussion, there was a blue banner that allows students to know it's a graded discussion and how many points it's worth. However, in redesign, students can now tell whether a discussion is graded by how many points are possible, which is written at the top right side of the discussion. It's written above the subscribe and publish icons as well as the 3 dots. Also in redesign, there is now one combined sort button rather than 2. So I'm clicking on sort with the arrow. If you click, you can view newest first or oldest first. In redesign, there is a new view split screen option. Classic view was just inline, but with redesign, users have the option to choose between inline or a side-by-side window split screen, and there's a single button to collapse or expand the threads. So I'm going to click reply. I'm going to click reply. So once I click reply and click view split screen, this panel will appear on the right, which splits the screen so you can view all the replies on the right side of the screen. In redesign, there's a new role pill feature which has been introduced. Anyone who has a teacher or TA role, it will be indicated. And the role pill is next to the student, or it's next to the instructor's name and their avatar. There's no role pill for course admins or students, so it will be present for instructors, teachers, or the TA role. In redesign, the dates have been moved. In classics, current availability dates were on the right side of the screen on the top of the discussion. With redesign, the dates are now on the left side above the name and avatar, and if it's a student or if it's an instructor or a teacher or a TA, above the role pill. I'm now going to navigate back to my discussions landing page. And I'm going to select this count of replies discussion thread. So there will also be a new count of replies in redesign. This is an improvement. This was available in classics, but it was not as obvious. In the redesign, the total number of replies and number of unread replies is much more apparent. In redesign, the total number of replies and total number of unread for that user for the discussion is completely written out. as I mentioned, it wasn't that obvious, and it wasn't indicated with such numbers in Classic. So as you can see here next to the Publish Unpublish Radial button, I have my replies, and I can also see how many are unread. And if I scroll down even further in a reply, I can also view within comments the nested replies, which will also have the total number of replies visible at the first level. I'm now going to speak to mark as read and unread in the discussion redesign. This allows the users to mark the entire discussion thread as read or unread in 2 places. This is a new feature within the redesign as well. So first, once I click on these 3 dots, there is the option to mark all as read and mark all as unread. You must click on the 3 dots and select one of these 2 options. This can also be changed at the reply level. And this is the workflow to mark the entire discussion thread as read or unread. Typically, when a user scrolls through a discussion, it is auto-marked as read. However, once clicking on the 3 dots and changing and marking as read or unread, that behavior will permanently change for that discussion. If I scroll down and I see these replies here, next to the envelope icon, I may also select mark as read or unread. I'm now going to navigate back to my discussions landing page. And I'm going to navigate to the due date display for discussion threads. So in redesign, there are no more banners with differentiated due dates. In Classic discussions, the blue banner is at the top with varying due dates. However, in redesign, due dates are associated with the name of the student, but hidden under the View Due Dates link at the top of the discussion above the username. You must click on View Due Dates. Once you click on View Due Dates, a panel will appear from the right side of the screen, which will list the due date for each student and the time, the available from and until date and time. I'm now going to navigate back to my discussion landing page. And I'm going to locate the edit history discussion thread. So regarding edit history, there is a loss of functionality within the redesign. Instructors can view students' edit history for a specific reply. Students are also informed of edits visible to instructors. So as you can see here, Liz Lemon, you can see that she had deleted the date and time of a particular reply. Now the loss of functionality is because in Classic discussions, there was an eye icon. So if users deleted their discussion comment, then the user can choose to hide those replies. But with redesign, that icon, that eye icon is no longer visible. I'm going to navigate back to my discussion landing page. I'm going to scroll down and select on anonymous discussion thread. Anonymous discussions is a new feature option when creating a discussion. I'm going to click on these 3 dots and then navigate to edit, and I'm going to highlight these options. These are the 3 options: off, partial, or full. For this particular example, I'm going to keep full selected, and I'm going to click save. There will be an anonymous indicator on the main discussion landing page. As you can see here, when I place my cursor on this indicator, it makes me aware that this is anonymous. And then this blue information bar will also appear. This is an anonymous discussion. Student names and profile pictures are hidden. I'm going to change this to partial. I'm going to click on the three dots. I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to scroll down to options and I'm going to select partial instead of full and click save. Okay, and here you can also see how the information bar has changed. Students have the option to reply anonymously. Some names and profile pictures may be hidden. It's important to note here that anonymous discussions do not work with graded or group discussions. So you cannot create a graded discussion and have it be anonymous. So make sure you read the blue banner. The instructor's posts and comments are never anonymous, and the names and profile pictures will always be visible. And that anonymous indicator on the main landing page will remain, making students aware if it is fully anonymous, partial, or off. I'm now going to navigate back to my discussions landing page. I'm going to scroll down and select a peer review discussion prompt here. Now, regarding peer reviews, the redesign is similar to classic. One must select graded for the peer review option to appear when creating a discussion thread for peer reviews. So peer review options, I'm going to click on the three dots for this discussion thread. I'm going to click edit. And when I scroll down here, you can see that this is graded. And the peer review is turned on. I've selected assign manually opposed to automatically assign. And I'm going to click save. The only difference here is that the peer review for students are not stated directly in a banner as it was before. I'm going to highlight this view from a student account I already have pulled up so you can see the workflow for the student. I'm going to locate this peer review for this particular student. And this is how it'll appear for the student. A peer review for Julia Thomas. The due date is above, and it's next to the icon with the little person and the pencil, and I would click review now as a student. Okay, so that blue banner had disappeared, but they would select review now. It's important to note that students must reply to the main discussion question or thread prior to replying to an automatic or a manual peer review. If they don't initially reply, it won't allow the students to click on this peer review or review now. It won't allow them to click on it. It won't be clickable. So they must initially reply to the first level. I'm now going to speak to at mentions. I'm going to navigate back to my discussions landing page. I'm going to navigate to a different discussion prompt. At mentions is a new feature with redesign. If somebody wants to get someone's attention for a specific post or reply, they can at mention someone and type in at mention and a list of the users will appear. So I'm going to click reply here and I'm going to click at, and then a list of other students or instructors or TAs in my course will appear, and I can select the at mention, type something, and click reply. If that user has notifications turned off for a new at mention, they won't receive a notification. So if you intend on using Canvas heavily to communicate with your students and you would like students to be able to utilize the at mention feature, make sure you make students aware so they can drill down into their account, their notification preferences, and have at mentions turned on. I'm going to highlight that briefly now. I'm going to click on Account. I'm going to navigate to Notifications. I am going to scroll down here and find Discussions and make sure App Mentions are turned on. When I place my cursor over New Mention, this information will appear. Please take the time to read it. When I click on the bell, these are my notification options. I'm going to keep Notify Immediately turned on. I'm going to navigate back to my dashboard now, back to my Canvas course and my Discussions landing page. There is another new feature with redesign, which is called a quote reply. So when I'm replying, I can click on these three dots, and I have the option here. If I drag my cursor down below the edit pencil icon, here I can see quote reply. So if someone wants to reply to a specific comment in a long thread, they can find the response they'd like to respond to, click the three dots, click quote reply, and then they would reply here. And when they quote reply, it will appear right above the comment that the teacher or the students have left. I'm now going to scroll up to the top of this discussion. I'm still in split screen. Let me view in line by clicking View in Line. Another new feature here with redesign is the highlighted text matching search results. So at the very top of the screen, I can search by typing in a word. For instance, reply. Let's do attach. And here you can see when I typed in the word attach, it will highlight the word attach in blue in all the replies. They'll just do letters as well, for instance, letters, words. This is a new feature with the redesign. Another new feature with the redesign is AI summaries. I'm going to navigate back to my Discussions landing page, and I'm going to find an AI summary that I've already generated. Here we go, summer break. Now, as I mentioned, this is a new feature. Discussion summaries will use generative AI model to give instructors summaries of the main points, questions, and ideas in a discussion thread. And the summaries are only visible to instructors. So this is one I had created, asking students about summer break, and students began replying, and I can use a generative AI summary here. You would click Generate Summary. You can also disable it. Please take the time to play around with this tool. You may find it very useful and very helpful in creating discussions and even responding to students. I'm now going to navigate back to the Discussions landing page. I'd like to speak to group discussions, so I'm going to click on the group discussions thread I previously generated. So I'd like to speak to loss of functionality here. There is a loss of functionality with group discussions. There used to be a banner in classic discussions, a blue banner that would list the various names of discussion groups. And on the right, the user could see the engagement levels of each group. With redesign, the groups are hidden within the group icon and the far left side of the page. So the top far left side of the page next to the search bar, there are two people icons or two little heads. I would click on them, and this is where my groups would be visible. So as you can see, they are hidden, and the ability to view the engagement of each group is no longer available, which is a loss of functionality. So please be mindful that when creating groups, if you're going to heavily rely on discussions, it may be more difficult to manage, especially if you have a large class or multiple sections utilizing groups. I'm now going to navigate back to discussions. I'm going to click on a prompt, my week 2 discussion prompt. I'm going to scroll down. Another loss of functionality here is infinite levels of replies, which has been removed. In classic discussions, instructors could opt into nested replies for discussions, and there's an infinite level of replies, but for redesign discussions, there are only 2 levels, which is a loss of functionality. So if a student or instructor tries to reply to the second level of nesting, they will receive an orange pop-up window message stating that deeply nested replies are no longer supported. So for instance, right now, I'm gonna reply a few times. Say a couple times. I replied once, and I'm going to reply another time. And on my third attempt, when I try to reply, I receive this orange information banner that deeply nested replies are no longer supported. Again, this is another loss of functionality. However, sorting and threaded replies will remain the same as in classic discussions. What does this mean? So as in classic discussions, the oldest replies are always displayed first, and the reply order is static, solely based on the original post date and time. So any nested child replies will not affect the order of the first level replies. I'm now going to navigate back to the discussions landing page. So this concludes all of the user interface changes, functionality changes, and the feature loss changes to redesign, Discussions Redesign. If you have any questions at all regarding the content and the features that I just reviewed, please do not hesitate to submit a ticket to canvashelp@stanford.edu. We understand that Discussions Redesign has undergone quite a few changes and is quite different. We're here to help. There is no question too big or too small. Please just submit a ticket to canvashelp@stanford.edu. Also, to locate other Canvas tutorials and videos and other news updates that we frequently make throughout the quarter, please navigate to gocanvas.stanford.edu. I hope you have a lovely quarter.